Hey guys, Kaitlyn here. Wait,
no.
that's your line.
Hello, my friends. Kaitlyn and my friend Joey are here, and guess what we're going to talk about today? The Avengers Infinity War.
This is where the gauntlet would go. It'd go right there if I had it. But
I
don't.
want it. I want the.
You can.
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
This morning, I needed the time stone.
Yes.
So we could sleep in more.
Yeah, and what's bad is we went to the 7 p.m. showing, and we're just like old people. Like, I was home by 10, but I still was like,
All right, so initial thoughts, I guess.
I mean, I guess overall, like, it was wonderful.
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, we audibly, not just us, but the entire theater clapped and cheered throughout the 2.5-hour film, which felt like it was about 5 minutes long.
And I guess before we get any farther, I should say that this is going to be full of spoilers. If you didn't already see it in the title, just stop watching.
Yeah, you gotta press pause now. We probably already said too much. I'll never be on the channel again. Already ruined it. No, it's spoiler city. You're talking about all of the different things that happen. Like, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. Like, I keep getting like goosebumps. The way they kept revealing the different characters and bringing everybody back in, like, it was so fluid, and I've never seen anything like that.
And you've got these very like established characters and kind of cinematic worlds around those characters, and then bringing them all together. Like, I really loved how they introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy, and so you come in with like their classic rock playing, and it's just like, yeah, okay, now we're in like a James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy movie for a minute. I think the only maybe difference would be you open with Thor, and it wasn't quite Taika Waititi's Ragnarok, which is a little disappointing because I really love that movie and I really love Taika. So
right off the bat, Thanos is the most fleshed out, well-developed Marvel villain since Loki. And I thought it was very powerful that the first life he really took was Loki's. Thanos had a cause you could almost relate to, but his tactics were despicable.
It's very similar to, I think, Black Panther.
Killmonger.
Yeah, Killmonger, thank you. He was very much like that, where he had this idea where you're like, I get it, but you are going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, that's what makes them so, I think, viable as villains, is because you almost sympathize with them, so you have some sort of understanding of them, and so when they twist and turn and do the things that you really don't like, you're more emotionally sought into it as just, he's a bad guy, so I know I shouldn't like him.
Yeah. In the opening, a lot more people died than I expected, like right off the bat. I wasn't expecting Loki to die that quickly because, I mean, he's definitely like a fan favorite, and in terms of a film that has a lot of fan service, to kill him off that quickly. And in terms of all the deaths in this movie, like all the people who got disintegrated at the end, you're like, they're probably not going to stay dead. I hope. No. We'll fix this, right?
Yeah. I mean,
but the people who died before that is like, is Loki really dead? Is this how his story ends 5 minutes into this movie?
The thing about the Infinity Gauntlet is, as quickly as Thanos changed the world, someone else with that could also change it back. The Infinity Gauntlet is, I guess, the film term MacGuffin gets thrown around a lot, you know, like a plot device. Like, the Infinity Gauntlet will have the ability to put Asgard back if they want to do that, bring Heimdall back. Maybe they don't. They're not written into a corner at all with this. Like, it's the kind of prop that can make things very, very dire, but also can turn the tide. This is the first Marvel movie that does not have a happy ending. I thought they'd be chasing the stones into the second film. The whole second movie is going to be Aftermath, which I did not expect. But
like, there was a guy behind us as soon as it ended, and he was like, we gotta wait a whole year for this.
He had a little bit of emotional breakdown.
It ends in a horrible place, but it also ends in a place where anything can happen now in the next movie. So I have just some questions about like favorite and best things that happen.
Cool.
Do you want to start funny, or you want to start sad?
Let's do what the movie did. Well, the movie started sad and ended sad.
Well, okay. What death were you not expecting?
There's a lot of them, you know, especially at the end. I mean, we talked about Loki already. I did not expect Spider-Man to die. I think he's the young fighter, and he's kind of the kid that keeps overcoming the expectations. Also, he's a Sony property. I mean, honestly, like that thought didn't come into my head until after the fact, but I thought like, like I know that Marvel and Sony are partnering on that, but I gotta think Sony's a little bit protective of Spider-Man because they're gonna make more solo films with him. I did not expect Black Panther. When it was him and Okoye together, I was like,
I was like, it's going to be Okoye. And then it was like, he was disappearing.
I know. And I kept saying no out loud. I mean, and we weren't alone. Other people, I was like, no. Like, because people would just start disappearing when Thanos snaps his fingers.
I'm being optimistic and saying anyone who disappeared, disintegrated with the Infinity Gauntlet finger snap, is really not gone. They're going to come back.
They have to. There's another Black Panther movie. There's another Spider-Man movie.
Exactly.
Like, they have to come back. But
anyone who died before that, I feel like their deaths are more on the line of like they could stay dead, and I would be really upset if that happened because I love Guardians and I love Star-Lord and Gamora together.
I do too. Gamora has always been a powerhouse character and not one-dimensional at all.
Best one-liner or joke?
There was a lot of those too. It's very funny, even though we've talked about a lot of sadness and death.
The sadness is like what you can kind of like ruminate on, but the funny stuff was really like what I feel like kept me going at times.
As Tony goes to chase their spaceship into outer space, he goes, "Wong, I love you. You're invited to my wedding." I thought that was really funny because, like, just 5 minutes prior, he's discussing he and Pepper's nuptials and all that stuff. Star-Lord calling Thanos Grimace. That was good.
What is that a reference to?
Oh, McDonald's. The big purple guy from, like, the...
Oh!
Yeah. You know, like Hamburglar, Ronald, Mayor McCheese. Grimace was the big purple guy.
I didn't know that's what his name was, but now, okay. I really liked the whole, like, when Thor is, like, hitting on Gamora, and, like, Quill is just, like, freaking out, and he, like, lowers his voice. Yeah. And just, like, their whole interaction was perfect. I wasn't expecting Thor to suddenly decide that he was going to hit on Gamora. But I guess, you know, you've been out in space in a while, and you got dumped by
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Natalie Portman.
Jane.
Who's all like, I got to do my science things. I don't have time for you.
Yeah. And Thor and Rocket together were really good.
Yes. I loved him calling him Rabbit and like continually calling him Rabbit. What do you think was the best or your favorite like wow moment? Mine was when Thor comes in at the in Wakanda when he's got the axe and just like the lightning, and I can't even fully articulate it. It was so amazing. Because you're seeing both his like Thor power / his also like new powers that no one else has seen except from Ragnarok. Woo! It was really great. Like it looked beautiful and felt like a turning point in that battle a little bit because they were kind of getting beaten down. I mean, obviously they still sort of got beat, but it was a nice moment where you're like, yeah, the cavalry has arrived.
I think for me was the battle on Titan. When Thanos shows up, he's got, I think, every stone, but the time and the mind. Yeah, of course, it's in his head. Duh. That whole fight of how they all really teamed up. You know, Doctor Strange, you know, hitting him with some of the being able to do the whips around him and then wrapping the cloak around the glove.
Spider-Man, where he's like, magic.
Yeah,
magic.
He's flying through portals, man. Magic again.
What deaths do you think might be permanent in the next movie? Whether people who are dead now or are still alive. I ask this question because I think a lot of people, myself included, went in being like, Captain America, Iron Man, maybe Thor, they're going to die. Because they're sort of like some of the oldest ones. And you're like, they could die and they'd be okay. Like if it's in a great sacrifice. I mean, it's not okay. Definitely not okay. I don't want you to think that.
Never okay. Don't go kill Iron Man. That's not the message.
When you think like the practical ways of like contracts are coming to an end, you're like, I could see where maybe they would end these because they have had 3 movies or more.
I think for me, and we did talk about it some, Loki died so early, and I mean, his death was one of the worst looking one. I mean, Thanos snaps his neck and he's blue.
He's so great. I don't want him to be there.
I know. I love Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, and I always wanted Loki to fully turn good, and he and Thor to fight alongside each other.
Yeah, and I feel like that one little, like, let me get a knife and try to get Thanos.
Try to do the right thing.
Maybe wasn't enough of a redemption, in my opinion, for his character.
Yeah, but that one could be very permanent, just because Tom Hiddleston is also a megastar who's been in a ton of these movies.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the ones that I worry about the most.
I think Gamora has to come back. You know,
because it has been confirmed for a Guardians 3, and like, how do you have Guardians and not have a Gamora?
Yeah,
I'm still in the place where I feel like either Captain America and/or Iron Man will die by the end of this. Although after it opened with Iron Man talking about like having a baby with Pepper, I was like, oh no, he can't die.
Yeah.
He needs to just go off and live a happy life and have a baby or two. And so we've got a lot of characters, and each of them kind of have their own little, I feel like, story arcs. Did you have a favorite arc from the film? I liked maybe Gamora's arc, I think. I feel like that was a main thread throughout the movie, because we were learning a lot of new information there about characters, her and Thanos. And I just really like her as a character. I would really like to cosplay her, except that I'd have to paint myself green, and I don't know if I have the commitment to do that.
I also really liked to see what the Hulk went through. I don't think his arc was resolved, and really it's not the Hulk, it's Bruce Banner. I mean, he literally tries to become the Hulk several times in the movie. Hulk's face will sort of rear up and say no. Also the Vision, the journey of Vision and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, they start out as lovers on a little getaway in Scotland. It's super sweet. I mean, you're rooting for them. Poor Scarlet Witch, who's been through hell and now has found love and stability. Vision, who is, you know, experiencing all these human things, and the journey that they have to go through and the sacrifices they have to make is also was very powerful.
Yeah, essentially, it was great. 2 thumbs up, 4 thumbs up.
4. I wish I had another thumb.
Man, I don't want you to have another thumb. That would be weird.
That'd be weird. So we have to wait a year for this, like that poor guy at the theater. You guys do too. Don't forget to smash like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, other YouTube things. I don't know how to YouTube.
I have never said smash anything. So if you have seen the movie, which I assume if you've watched this far, you've either really spoiled it for yourself or you have, in fact, watched it, then tell us what you loved about the movie, what you didn't love about the movie, what, you know, all of your thoughts. You can just like emotional word vomit down in the comments.
I feel like I've been doing that since I left the theater, so
So we did it to you, so now you can do it back. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like this video, if it made you smile, which how could it not? Because, like, it's Marvel and the Avengers and just all of this is so wonderful, although you probably left the theater feeling a little cryy, a little teary-eyed, maybe. I will see you next Thursday. Bye.